that moment in Chicago, which led me to the biggest moment in my professional career.
Right.
Playing in the Super Bowl in my hometown in Detroit. So that whole week was magical. So I'll never forget, Coach said, we can do it, man. He said, but we got to have a different outcome, man. I'm just saying. So Coach Collins, shout out to Coach Collins for letting us come to my parents' house the second time. After Thanksgiving, we had lost. I used to steal gum and candy from the grocery store when we used to go to the grocery store. Shout out to Myers.
Sorry, Myers. Welcome to the Rich Room. My name is John Bettis. You gotta know me by now. You gotta know me. But today, after the day, you will. I have a very special guest, man. I have my brother. This is my little bitty brother. Jerome Bettis. Bettis. You get it. It makes sense. So, man, listen, man. Thank you very much for coming out.
No problem, man. Thanks.
Listen, you need no introduction. And I've been waiting to get you on here. I just been waiting. I wanted to make sure we had everything down packed. The Rich Room was up. It was live. You know, people was watching us. They were interested in what we were having. Right. So that we can come and talk about your story, talk about our story, and really have it resonate with people, man. Because I know people know you from football and championships, Hall of Fame, and an incredible career. But it's so much more than that. You know, that's like just like the tip of the iceberg. You know, the base is family, foundation, right? And then from there you go to business. You know what I mean? I tell everybody, we own companies together, but I tell everybody that your business acumen is insane. And I, you know, it's like, for me, I'm like, damn, this is my little brother. But man, a great businessman. So tell me, man, you know, after football, man, how did you make the adjustments after football? Because I want to talk about that first.
Well, football was obviously the enjoyment. After football, you have to kind of recalibrate and figure out, well, what is it that I want to do? What interests me?
Yeah.
And for me, what I had started doing when I was playing was television. I had a TV show, I had a radio show. So I was really getting comfortable in front of a camera. And as it turns out, I saw my next opportunity in television.
Right.
So it was a really seamless transition. I went from doing a TV show, you know, in Pittsburgh to now doing a national show.
And that show is the Jerome Bettis show.
Yes.
WPXI.
And then going and doing Sunday Night in America that on NBC we launched that show. And so it just kind of all came together.
Right.
But it wasn't something that when I started playing, I said, you know, I want to go on television when I'm done. It just morphed into me wanting to do more when I was playing to opportunity after it was all done.
Right.
And you know, it's been 20 years.
20 years.
It's been 20 years since I retired.
20 years.
So I've still stayed involved to a lesser degree.
Right.
In a little television.
20 years. It's been 20 years, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been wow. And looking back on it, that was very seamless.
Yeah.
It was almost like it was planned.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You think it was because you saw me doing so much, but it wasn't. It was just happenstance. I did a TV show in Pittsburgh. They asked me, hey, would you be willing to do the show? And I was like, you know, and then when I got into it, I really enjoyed it. And it was one of those, you know, the show is better if you're willing to make fun of yourself. Right. So then I started to do more and more and more, and I found myself enjoying it. And it just kind of led to more and more and more things.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
So, and when I think back on it, with the filming of the show, I always got a chance to bring the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, people always came. It's not really a set up for visitors, but they transform it into one. But it's always great for the kids, man. And so, and that makes me think about like kids. So how are the kids doing, man? How's Jada? How's Jerome?
My kids are great. My son is in training camp right now. He's
Right.
at Notre Dame, so it's his first year freshman
First-
camp. So he's going through it.
He's
You
a
know what I'm
monster.
saying?
I know he's
feeling
going through it, man.
But
He's
it's
on
dog
campus.
days. Yeah, and it's tough though for him because this is your first time. Whenever it's your first time at anything,
Right.
it's gonna be hard because
Mhm.
you have no expectations, right?
Right.
Physically, you don't know where your body needs to be.
Mhm.
Emotionally, you're just going through all this and you don't have an outlet. So it's a challenge. Let me say
Right.
that. So, but he's enjoying it, and I'm making sure that he's doing well. You always want to. As I look back on it now,
Mhm.
mental health, it was always important, but never spoke of.
Right.
So just making sure that he's fine,
Mhm.
he's got an outlet, because this is a different world that we live in now.
Yeah, it's
So
very different.
it's a lot more pressure. Obviously, him being a junior,
Yeah. That in itself.
that is
in
pressure
itself.
in and of itself. So just wanted to make sure that he's comfortable in his own skin,
Right.
and he's enjoying his journey because his journey is different than my journey.
Yeah.
So he's doing well. My daughter, she just had an incredible summer. She was interning at Home Depot,
Yeah.
based in Atlanta, and she had an incredible time. She's majoring in strategic management.
Okay.
So she was in their strategic acquisitions department.
Yeah.
She was, going through that. And so she enjoyed it, loved it, had a great time. So she's kind of gearing up for her business move. She's next spring, second semester, she's going to London to study abroad. So she's kind of getting her chops
getting ready.
together. Yeah, she's getting ready.
That's Jada, man.
Both of them are at Notre Dame, so that's a blessing.
Yeah.
In and of itself.
How does that feel? How does that feel?
That's an amazing feeling
Yeah.
because I went there, right, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Notre Dame, this that," but what they don't understand is it's a small school. It's only 8,000, 9,000 kids.
Yeah.
So very small school, intimate setting, but it's a great education. And when you leave there, it's a true benefit for you going forward. So
Right, the network.
I'm happy because I get an opportunity to see my kids there, but I also know the benefits after
Right.
football because I benefited as well. So
Yeah.
it's I'm excited for them.
Man. So let's talk more about college, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Like some of the most outstanding or memorable events that happened to you? Because I know mine. I went to almost all the games. I went to almost all the pro games, and I have a ton of memorable experiences. But what are some of yours?
It's tough because most of the things that people are it's the things on the field, and so off the field, it was just so different in college, obviously, than it is now.
Mhm.
But because you have your kind of your network, your friends
Yeah.
off the field. Some guys are athletes, some guys aren't. I had roommates. So
Yeah.
it was just an incredible time. But if I had to go back and think about some of the outstanding moments in time, I'll never forget when Magic Johnson announced that he had AIDS. I was in college,
Mhm.
and I was doing a event in well, not an event. I was doing a like an interview, big interview in the stadium,
Mhm.
right? And so it was just it is weird because that one
moment
moment I
just stands out.
always remember being at Notre Dame, being shocked.
Yeah. Like where were you at when that
Yeah,
happened?
right. When that happened.
Yeah.
So that was a moment I'll never forget. Kind of one of the off the field moments
Yeah.
that is etched in my brain. On the field, I had we played Penn State, and they call it the snowball.
The snowball, yep.
And that was a touchdown at the right end of the game. We were down by 8 points, I think it was, or 7. We're down by 7. So I scored a touchdown to bring the game to a 1-point game, and then we actually went for 2 and got it and ended up winning the game. So that moment in time was special. And then obviously you go, and it has more meaning because having been in Pittsburgh
Right.
for all these years and so many Penn State fans.
So they know about it even more.
Yeah,
they know the
about
other
it even
side.
more. So that moment, and the other huge moment was.
But hold on, let me stop you on that. So I have a very memorable time with that game as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't there. So that was one of the few games I missed at Notre Dame Stadium because I chose to go to Tuskegee. I went to Tuskegee's homecoming with Jamal.
Yeah.
And Jamal Dokes is my other little brother, Jerome's best friend. And I'm business manager. I got him on the Jamal, where you at? I've had Kim on. Come on. So I went down to Tuskegee for Jamal's homecoming, and we watched the game.
What?
We watched the game.
Yeah.
Is that something? So it's like
crazy.
That one moment had all these different feelings, and the Penn State fans, of course, hate it.
Yeah,
and you got to give it to them.
Hate it.
They hate it. So what was your?
But the other moment is we played Florida in the Sugar Bowl, and that was a special moment because, I had a big year my sophomore year, and that was really the icing on the cake.
It's like the breakout,
the national moment, because obviously all the games are national, but it's it's a Sugar Bowl, it's one of the big bowl games,
top rated team,
and then to have an opportunity to go out and have a masterful performance and everybody know your name after that game.
Right.
That was
killed him.
Killed it.
I think 250-yard runs.
Yeah.
I was in the stands running.
3 touchdowns. Right.
I was in the stands running.
So those were the I think the moments that really stand out to me when I think about Notre Dame back in college.
I remember Sugar Bowl. It was in New Orleans, and of course we're walking. Me and Dad. We're walking Bourbon Street at night. Because it was New Year's Eve as well. Right. It's New Year's Eve. We're walking down, we're drinking, and we got of course we have our Notre Dame gear on. All the Florida fans are slapping in our face, Gator bait. So and when we got a chance to tag them, we tagged them. And we were waiting for you in the lobby with everybody. And the elevator came down and opened, and the fans went crazy. That was a hell of a moment, man. That was one hell of a moment. Yeah, so it's always these different. So you have a great story, but being on the opposite side,
different perspective.
Perspective.
Yeah. I don't. That's the part that I never got a chance to see because you guys will always talk about the tailgates and this and that. When I retired, I had never ever been to a tailgate, right? So I never knew what a tailgate was, what it looked like, So it was just a different perspective, really, right?
Because you would never think that, you know what I mean? Because they're people are there to tailgate for the game.
Right. And having been in some sort of football for 20 years, playing, and you would think that, hey, he's been to a tailgate. But when would you go to it? If I'm actually in the game, how could I go to a tailgate?
When would you go to a tailgate?
When would you make it to a tailgate?
That don't make so pros, what's a memorable moment?
In the pros, it was for my rookie year, because as a rookie, and all the rookies they're gonna go through it. You go through a moment where you're wanting to know if you are good enough, right? You're like, you were the man in college, but then you come to the NFL and you just have a moment where you got to kind of find your way. It's kind of like you got your eyes closed and you just kind of feeling your way, and then once the lights come on, then you're like, oh man, I got it. Right?
I deserve to be.
And so it was right. And you like, I'm the man. And so there was a game we played, I think my preseason, we played Arizona Cardinals, and everything was moving really fast, right? And I'm like, shit.
Right.
It's moving fast, man. I'm like, am I gonna get this or what? Right? So fast forward just to another 2 weeks later, we were getting ready to go into the regular season, and I was feeling really good. The game had really slowed down, and I think that's really what happens when you're uncomfortable, you're not knowing the game is going so fast, and then once you figure it out, it slows down, and then I was off and running,
off to the races,
and so to have that big rookie year, that was a special moment for me because again, I moved positions. I was a fullback in college, and then I went to a position I had never played before, tailback. And people think it's really easy to go from fullback to tailback, but it's totally different. I'm used to blocking, and when I do get the ball, I'm not trying to make people miss. I'm trying to run into people and pound and get a yard or two, because that's kind of the goal. And then to be tailback, you got to do so much stuff. You got to catch the ball. You got to out of the backfield. You've got to navigate, and your goal is to get the most yards for the team, not punish this guy. He's about to so I had a different mindset being a fullback, tailback. So I'll make the change, and then have the year that I had.
Yeah,
that was the
rookie of the year.
Yeah, that was a special moment for me there. But then the other moment was here in Pittsburgh, and we played the Chicago Bears, and I had this magical game.
Another snowball.
Right? And I'm at the twilight of my career now, and so I'm not even the starter anymore. And we got this bad weather game, and it's muddy, and they're like, Jerome, we need you, right? And then we go out, and then in that half, go out and exert my will on the Bears. That was great, because it then led us to a championship. Right, because we go off, win the next 4 games, get in the playoffs, have a magical playoff run in Detroit,
and at home, at the crib.
And so that moment in Chicago, which led me to the biggest moment in my professional career, playing in the Super Bowl in my hometown in Detroit. So that whole week was magical. So it was like that Bears game. I always remember that. But then also getting to Detroit, and that moment, and having
a team rallying behind you, everybody wearing jersey. Shout out to Brian Urlacher too. That was great. Yeah, that we needed that B.
Unfortunately,
we needed
that's my main man too.
Right.
So I hate that. But a side note to that, a special moment that wasn't my football moment, but it was during my football career, was having the opportunity to bring the team to dinner for Thanksgiving. Yeah. The first time I'd ever played a Thanksgiving Day game against the Lions. It was the first time playing in Detroit. And to have my mom and dad kind of open up their home and let the whole team, we had the entire team, like 50 guys, 50, I think 50.
That was insane, man. It was
guys,
insane.
All 50 guys are in the house, set up, dinner. So that was special.
So what you don't know, we're at the house, we're prepping, we're doing everything. So I'm on bus watch. So I'm talking, Jack tells me, the guy that, hey, we're on the way. So okay, bus watch. And Fairway was very narrow street.
Yeah, right.
So we're all waiting. Like we got the police blocking off the street. So the police let the bus in, you know what I mean? So it was a coordinated effort to get you guys into the house, and so the food was prepared. We had, I think, 6 turkeys, 6 this, and the entire family chipped in. Everybody was there, man. So that was a hell of a moment. That was in '98. Yeah. And then for the Super Bowl, we duplicated it.
To do it again. But I think the second time you got a great idea of the first time. Exactly. So I'm sure it was a lot smoother.
It was a lot smoother. And but a lot was at stake, because the second time we had to work with the trainers even more, because this is right before the Super Bowl, so you can't have food poisoning or anything else. So so the trainers got involved on this during the Super Bowl.
Did they?
Yeah, because that was big, man.
See, that's the stuff that I never ever knew about. The biggest thing for us was the first one. We lost.
Let me come back.
So Coach, I'll never forget, Coach said, we can do it, man. He said, but we got to have a different outcome, man. I'm just saying. So Coach Collins, shout out to Coach Collins for letting us come to my parents' house the second time after Thanksgiving we had lost.
Right.
He was like, but this time we had a little bit more time, because the Thanksgiving Day game, credit to Coach Cowher, what he did was, he allowed us to do that the night before the game, and that's
rare.
Never happens, ever happens that coach allows the whole team to come to
somebody's house
right the night before a game. and he did that. So that was impressive, and allow us to do it a second time right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was a little different. It wasn't the day before the Super Bowl. It was the Super Bowl week, which we had a little more time to plan. But that was special in and of itself to have allow the whole team to come. So shout out to Coach Kyle.
Man,
that was special.
Yeah, that was special. Again, another coordinated effort.
Yeah.
With
so that was my in football moment outside of football.
Right.
That was those dinners at mom's and dad's house was special, and then the Super Bowl was the coup de grace for me,
right?
Because I got a chance to really end on an incredible note, right?
And you
my
won.
whole football career, we win the Super Bowl at home. I retire on the spot.
First championship.
It's it. It's over.
Your first championship.
Done.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Man.
So that was
special. So let's go. You win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Well, we have Jada win the Super Bowl. Now TV.
Yes.
TV comes.
Yeah.
But then you transition to the business world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So tell me about that, man. I'm always interested. Like I said, your business acumen is you have a very high business IQ.
Okay.
You know, where do you attribute that to?
So
I reap the benefits of it.
Well, what people don't realize, and I talked about it a little bit in my book a long time ago when I wrote it. I talked about how when I was 12 years old, I was carrying my father's
with the briefcase.
I always in my head wanted to be a businessman, right?
Well, if you had Transformers,
right?
candy.
Well, that part I didn't want to really.
You didn't want to talk about that part.
Well, what I used to do when I had a business, when I was in middle school, and my business was I used to steal gum and candy from the grocery store when we used to go to the grocery store. Shout out to Myers.
Sorry, Myers.
Myers, I owe you.
Sorry, Myers.
I owe you a bag
over Madison Heights. We sorry.
I made some money. I do apologize. I think the
statute of limitations. It ran out.
Yeah, but I used to go in and just murder the rows, right? And so I had this business where I had this briefcase. I had all this candy and stuff, and I used to sell all the candy to the kids. And so, I had piles of change, right? And it was just funny, But that was my mindset. I had this business, and then I ended up getting caught, and it went bad, and one of the kids tried to steal my money, and then we had a fight. Then I got the principal, and then it just went all bad.
They tried to extort you.
Yeah. They tried to steal my product, my inventory. So then it was on. So anyway, that's a different conversation.
Right. That's totally different.
But what it did was it got me into the business mode, buying, selling. I wasn't doing too much buying. I was doing more selling. But it got me in that mode as a young kid. And so when I went to Notre Dame, my major, what do you want your major? Of all the majors, I wanted to be a business major.
Right.
And so I kind of took it serious then. So the classes, everything, it was something that I was really interested in. And so I always wanted to be involved in some way. And so when I did go to the NFL, a lot of people don't know, I started my business, JBE, which was a marketing company, and did a lot of my own marketing.
Jerome Bettis Enterprises.
And I did a lot of my own marketing for commercials and this, that. Now I had a agent and that kind of thing, but I came together with Jamal, my business manager, and we started a company back in the mid 90s.
Yep. 96, 95, 96.
Yeah. And we've been going ever since. And so that was me wanting to be in business and knowing the landscape, understanding the motto, how to understand people.
Yep.
Right. So it was really interesting, and I just fell in love with it. And so when I ended my football career, I knew I wanted to be in business. I wasn't quite sure what the business would be. Right. what the industry would be. And as it turns out, these opportunities kept presenting themselves, from the television opportunity that presented itself, into staffing opportunities, and do some other things that I've kind of migrated to and been involved with. So the business mindset, it was always there, deep rooted.
Yep. And now we're in energy.
Right.
Now we're in energy. Yeah. So it's something, man. So when you think back on business, what type of advice would you give? We'll start with business, and then we'll go and reverse back to football, to a young kid.
Yeah.
Or maybe whichever one you want to start. We can start with a young kid playing PAL or little league, pee-wee football, all the way to that person finishing school, or that person looking at being an entrepreneur, or any of those things. What type of advice would you give to those people separately?
Well, I think I will put it in categories, put it together in the bucket. That kid that's wanting to play football, and he sees it, and he maybe in middle school or and going through that. I would just tell them they need to have a hefty love of the game. They need to enjoy the game, understand the game, but also understand that there's another component to football, and that's the educational side. Because so many times, these kids say, I love football. Well, what about school?
Yeah.
Not so much. Well, it goes hand in hand, because you can't get to the finish line that you want to get to without having an educational background. So you need to, at the very least, have a good understanding and be able to function at school.
Right.
And I think that's
and
so
pass
important.
A class.
You have
to be able to
because what happens is, and the one thing that's been missed in this college NIL and money and all this is the school part. You got to go to school, and that's the part that's not being told. So these young kids, they see the money, the lights, this, but they never see the educational side. And so it translates down to middle school, high school, because now these kids they don't even see it, right? But what they got to understand is, if you're not eligible, you can't play. So you can be derail yourself.
Right. You can be the best player.
But you
can't get on the field.
Can't get on the field. So I would just tell the young people now that be conscious of the other side of football. You can love it. I want you to love it, but the other side of football is important. It'll derail you before you get your true opportunity.
Right. Right. Dope.
Yeah.
Now, what about on the business side?
On the business side, you know what? I would tell, especially the athletes that are kind of transitioning from football to, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the NFL guy, but I'll speak to the NFL guy right now. To the NFL guy who his whole dream was to play football, and now I want to transition into business.
Right.
There's a couple things that you have to understand. One is, because you played football, you are negatively looked upon.
Oh,
right.
Really?
Yeah. And so a lot of people don't realize there's a bias.
Like the stereotype.
A stereotype against the athlete, because now he's that dumb jock thing now comes back into play. Like, what do you know about business? Right? You're just a football player, right? And so it was great when you were a football player.
Right.
But now you are just a football player. It's like, you don't know anything about business, right? So it's like, wait a minute. I went to school for business. I mean, just like the guy that's your CFO, the guy that's your head of sales, he went to school for business. I did the same thing. I went to same school for business.
Right.
Right. So why all of a sudden, because I played football and went to school for business.
You did both.
But now I'm looked upon as this guy who's less than, right? And I think that's what a lot of guys have to understand that they're going up against.
Okay.
Now, I will say there's a large learning curve, because obviously, if you played 5 years, they got a 5 year head start on you, right? So there is a learning curve there, but I would just always tell the guys that understand what you're up against and what you have to defeat. So what you have to learn is the language.
Yeah.
You have to learn to talk in their language. And as soon as you learn to talk in their language, then that's when they, oh, okay.
Right.
I got it. Oh, he knows what he's talking about. All right. He gets it.
That kind of validates you.
It doesn't validate you as much as it shows them that my stereotype is wrong.
Okay. All right.
Right. So
okay,
internally they say, oh,
right.
You know what? My bad.
Because it's not you.
It's not you. It's them.
Right.
So they're like, oh, okay, he's good. He's
okay.
good. That's my bad. That's my bad. Right.
Right.
Because I'm going in jaded. But then when you talk and they hear you, like, oh wow, this guy's on this.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. Okay. And then it goes away and it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
But you do have that. You're gonna have that initial issue that they may not take what you say as being 100%, as if this guy said it,
right,
it'd be fine. But because you said it,
it's different.
It's a little different. So you have to earn your stripes in that way,
right,
and to a degree. So I would just tell the young guys who's transitioning there, understand that, and you, because of that, you got to be on your game.
Right.
And you got to be able to talk their language.
You got to talk the language.
You got to talk the language.
Now, what about that person that didn't play sports, who's just going into business? You know what I mean? What about that guy? You know, that person who may be facing a challenge, maybe looking at some obstacles. He may be an entrepreneur. He may be corporate. He may be corporate, but he's at an impasse. Yeah, you know, what can you say to get that person past that?
I would tell, there was a saying that I used to go to this football camp when I was a kid. Reggie McKenzie.
Oh yeah. We were on the board.
And he used to say, there's no substitute for hard work. He's always like, there's no substitute for hard work. This man is 6'4", 6'5".
Yelling at you.
Yeah, he's like, there's no substitute for hard work. And that has stayed in the back of my head since I was a young man, because he was 100% correct.
There's no substitute
substitute for hard work. And for that young person that's starting out in their business career, you have to be willing to work harder than the guy that's sitting next to you.
Yeah.
If you want to be great, if you want to be successful, if you want to go out there and earn your stripes, earn your way, you have to be willing to work harder than the guy next to you.
Yeah.
If that means I'm getting up at 7 because he's getting up at 7:30, or if I'm getting up at 6:30 because he's getting up at 7, and if he's in the office at 8 o'clock, I want to be in the office at 7:45, right? I want to outwork
him.
The next guy. And I think if they have that mindset going into the business world, they're going to be successful.
Right. That's dope. Well, listen, man, I want to thank you. I've done this a million times. You are a Rich Room veteran. We've partied here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I've seen it from this side, right? On that side, I've never been sitting in the seats.
I reserve that, man.
But let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Since the Rich Room.
Yes.
Okay. What made you want to do the Rich Room? What was the inspiration behind the Rich Room?
So it's funny. So I own a title company, real estate title company, of course. And
what's the name of it?
Plus Real Estate Solution, right?
Yep.
And our bank, S&T Bank, my banker Genevieve, they highlighted the title company as their spotlight company.
Right.
They brought a camera crew out. They videoed me, and Genevieve, as we're wrapping up, she said, "John, have you ever thought about doing a podcast?" I said, "No, I like Drink Champs because I like the journey. I like to hear how it is coming up with it, behind the scenes." So she said, "You should think about it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, I've already had the Rich Room. We already have parties here. So during the parties, we're sitting and doing this. We're just talking and drinking and smoking and cussing. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So she said, "Think about it." She called me back the next week, oddly. "Hey, what did you think about the podcast?" Nothing. I haven't thought about it at all. I just watched Drink Champs. She was like, "I need you to think about it, John. You're great behind the camera, charismatic. I need you to do a podcast." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, good. You get behind it? Yeah, all right, let's do it." So she called me back another time. Like, okay, John, what are you doing? So I said, I thought about it. I want to do a podcast called Just Talking because we get down here and we just talk.
Right.
She said, I love the concept, hate the name. Think about the name, right? So at the same time, my boy Randy Ford, excuse me, he's like Oscar the Grouch, right? He does not throw compliments around at all. So one time we walk into our favorite cigar lounge and he looks at me, he's like, man, John, those glasses look rich. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, it's like I want to just kiss the ring, man. You look rich. I'm like, what are you saying to me? Like, I don't know, whatever. So he built a room in his house called the Boom Boom Room. And I wanted this room to be the Boom Boom Room. So I'm thinking like, what can I name this room? I got to name it. It's got to have a name.
Right.
And then I thought about Randy. I'm like, how can I stick it to him? How can I really stick it to him? So I'm Rich. He called it Rich. I'm going to call it the Rich Room. I'm going to call it the Rich Room, right? So I had the Rich Room. Now, then I told her, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to just call it the Rich Room. That's where we are. That's where we're talking. She was like, I love it. Let's see it. So then I had camera guys come for that first interview. I had them come back, and they're my crew now. You know what I mean? Wow. So they were my crew. They had experience in podcasts. I didn't know. They had experience. They helped stand it up, and we're here. And now we drink, smoke, and cuss professionally. Professionally. That's what we do, man. And so I had a big challenge with just the name Rich Room because it didn't come from anything arrogant or any right. place of being rich. It came from me trying to stick it to my boy. You know what I mean?
So you got to figure out how does it translate?
How does it translate
for the viewer
right.
to not feel uncomfortable?
Exactly. Like this guy, who is this guy? Who does he think he is?
Right.
Think he's rich? So really, it's rich in life, rich in experiences, and rich in advice. You know, we motivate and inspire. Nothing negative. We're all positivity. You know what I mean? And we're having a good time doing it. That's the Rich Room, man. That's the Rich Room Live, man. That's what we do.
Well, all I ask is that you bring me back.
Yes.
For another opportunity.
I need you on a panel, so because I need you to talk with other people so we can have a great time laughing.
Yeah,
man.
All right.
Listen, I love you, man. Thank you. I owe you everything, man. Thank you very much.
No, you owe me nothing.
I love you, man.
Appreciate it. Love you.
Hey, listen, another great episode. I told y'all, this is my little bitty big brother, Jerome. Listen, check us out, guys. Once again, check out the Rich Room Live podcast. Our information is below. We're here. We're here to motivate, inspire, and just push the needle forward, man. All positivity. Cheers to you. Welcome to the Rich Room, guys. Cheers. Welcome, man. Welcome to the Rich Room.
Thank you.
Cheers. Right on time.
Way to close it out.
Right. Hey, right on time.